So I got a second wave of stuff from Den of Imagination Painting Studios, which gets my Sons of Horus collection up to over 4,000 points. After the first wave, it was way below 2,500, but now I've got over 4,000 points worth of stuff. And I wanted to make this showcase video talking about what and why, and also what I have learned from collecting Sons of Horus, and how I would start collecting Sons of Horus if I was doing this again for the first time. And also talk about what's next, what's coming next to the channel, new miniatures, things like that. So where we are, what's going on, why did the chicken cross the road, are we the baddies? I'm not sure Sons of Horus are the baddies, but mainly I wanted to make this because it's a privilege to share this with you. Thanks to everyone for watching and enjoying my videos, and hobbyists just love sharing their collections. It's about the miniatures after all, right? So with that in mind, sharing collections, so showing pretty pictures, I've also mixed in some images from the Death Guard that I also got painted by Den of Imagination as well, just to break up the photo gallery and show off some stuff which look very, very pretty. So what have I added? Tanks. The power of tanks cannot be denied. Lots of big tanks, and of course Abaddon and Loken, because if you're doing a Sons of Horus army, I guess you've got to have Abaddon and Loken. I want Abaddon and Loken. I also want those other new named characters. Have you guys seen them? The images of Tibot Ma and Little Horus. Every named character that they have. Yes, please. That Tibot Ma one looks absolutely fantastic, by the way. His face cut off, rearranged, sticked back on again. Anyway, tanks. Typhon Super Heavy Siege Tank has to come because it's got the Dread Hammer Siege Cannon. The only brutal 4 gun in the game, and it's called a Dread Hammer Siege Cannon. I mean, gotta have one of these, maybe 3 of these. No, 1 is enough. It's the biggest gun you can put on a tank, and Sons of Horus, well, they had access to all the toys. Then a couple of Predators chucked in as well. A Sicaran chucked in as well. Rhino, you always need a Rhino. Minimum, whenever you're collecting any Legion force, I would always recommend minimum 2 tactical squads, no matter what you're doing, and a Rhino. Tactical squads win your games, and having a Rhino coming on from reserve at some point just to sit on an objective somewhere, or a Rhino on the table if there is no objectives to bust forward, and then the guys can get out and move, block, and sacrifice themselves for the juicier units behind. Rhinos with tacticals, got to be done. And I didn't have a Rhino before. As you can see from all the images flicking by, they're all fully magnetized, absolutely juicy. And I got both versions of the Predator because I didn't know which one I wanted, so I got them both. And I don't know why Games Workshop has spread Predators across 2 different battle boxes. They should all be in one box with all the options, but Games Workshop is Games Workshop, and this is what they do. Anyway, 2 Predators with all the magnetized gun options. And Den of Imagination are not just the largest and the nicest painting studio in the entire world. They also have their own design studio in there, where they develop, print, plan, design their own miniatures. And you can check out all the miniatures that Den of Imagination designed by going to their Patreon page. I'll put a link in the video description below. But if you're a 3D printer kind of guy, then you can sign up to their Patreon and get access to all their STL files. But yeah, because they're a painting studio, and because they have that design studio in there and the capability to design their own miniatures and to design their own bits and conversion pieces, when they were setting up this army, I also asked them to design some very specific bits for my Sons of Horus force. So we've got custom chapter symbols on the shoulder pads and on the tanks, and special wolf head helmets as well. Because the original idea would be to call my collection the Sons of Luna, which are a loyalist part of the Sons of Horus, which were never on Isfahan, and I wanted to give them something personal, so when I'm running them around as the Sons of Luna, as these loyalists, then they look distinct, they look special, they look unique to me, which I liked. I liked that. But then I also wanted to make sure that they were done in OG Sons of Horus green, because I always plan to get Loken, I always plan to get Abaddon. So on those occasions when I need to play as a traitor and want to destroy some Iron Hands, I can run around with Abaddon in my force. And on the many occasions where I want to play Isfahan free with Garfield Loken, the Absolute G, well, he wore the original sea green back then, as they all did during Isfahan 3. So Sons of Luna, my own thing, but I can also play them as completely loyalist or completely traitor, heretic, nasty people if I want to, by keeping it in the OG colour scheme, the OG style. It gives me options. I like options. So those are the modelling decisions there. And then tanks. I needed to add some tanks because my Sons of Horus collection didn't have enough bang, didn't have enough output from the gun point of view. And adding a couple of Predators, a Typhon and a Sicaran definitely adds a lot of bang. Have to point out though that the Justaeran Terminators, I painted them. So I did a video on painting black recently. I feel fairly confident on painting black, and I knew I could add some Justaeran to the force without troubling Den with even more stuff when they were working on this, and they've got another project on the go for me, which I'll talk about at the end. So I added 10 Justaeran Terminators. One of the guys got a 12. There's 12 in there along with the Praetor, and that's the generic Praetor. But now I've got a nice rounded force and enough of a collection so I can field either the Long March Rite of War or perhaps Pride of the Legion Rite of War. But apart from that, mainly no Rites of War when it comes to the Sons of Horus, because they can take anything. They are the Sons of Horus, one of the most supplied legions in the whole of 30k. Their second Rite of War, the Black Reaving, means you have to take more fast than heavy choices for the Rite of War. That's the restriction for it, and I don't have any fast yet, mainly because Games Workshop have released very few fast attack options in plastic. We've got Assault Marines and Sky Hunters, but we're still waiting for Javelins and Proteuses and Seekers and Xiphon Interceptors. Oh my, we're waiting for lots of things, and when they finally start releasing some fast stuff, I'll definitely be getting some fast stuff and adding it to the Sons of Horus. But how to play Sons of Horus? If you want to start collecting Sons of Horus, if you want to start collecting any Legion army, you need to first look at the Legion trait. What does your Legion do? And each Legion trait is different, obviously. The Death Guard one is all about moving and not being slowed by terrain. So that tells you that they're a movement-based force with lots of big guns, because they can take big guns and count as stationary. They're about marching forward, throwing down the firepower, suppressing you. World Eaters, extra attacks on the charge. They're telling you that they want to get charging in and not be charged. Sons of Horus, -1 strength in the first round of combat, whether they get charged or charged. That means you should build your list around fighting, because if they're not being charged or charged, then they act like any other legion. That means you want a combat army, an aggressive army. So with that in mind, and with what I know now, after playing Horus Heresy 2.0 for the last 18 months and playing 28,000 games, many games, this is what I would recommend you bring if you want to start a Sons of Horus list. So it starts off with 20 tacticals and a Rhino, because every legion needs 20 tacticals and a Rhino. They will win you games. And then I would bring at least 30 Assault Marines. They're also line, along with tacticals and the 30 Assault Marines, that is 5 scoring units. And those Assault Marines will be getting into close combat. You can load them up with lightning claws, power axes, things like that. But they're there to score, they're there to mop up infantry, they're there to be aggressive, and they're there to get in combat. Having at least 30 tactical marines as well means you could run 2 squads of 15 if you wanted in some cases, squad of 20, squad of 10. You don't probably need to do that with assault marines anyway. But yeah, at least 5 scoring units there, 20 tacticals, 30 assault, maybe 40 assault. I'd have 2 contemptor dreadnoughts as well and load them up with melters and just push them forward. Melters in both fists, or a Gravis melter and a melter in the other fist, and just push them fists forward, because that -1 strength when they're charged or charged kicks in for them as well. Not all of the Legion traits kick in for Dreadnoughts, but it does kick in for Sons of Horus. That means when a Dreadnought goes charging into a normal tactical squad, they'll count as Strength 3 and can't actually hurt it back again, which is pretty juicy. And if you throw them in against Terminators, then the Power Fists or the Hammers, that'll be hitting the Dreadnought back again, drop down to Strength 7, which is quite nice. And then on top of that, I'd add 2 big squads of Terminators, 10 and 10. And that's how I'd start, and that would be the core. 20 Tacticals, 30 Assault Marines, 2 Contemptor Dreads, and 2 big squads of Terminators. And with the toys, with the weapon loadouts, that'll get you about 1,800 points worth of stuff. And apart from the 20 Tactical Marines, the Assault Marines, the Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and the Terminators are all pushing forward, all trying to charge or be charged, and all using the Legion-specific ability for the Sons of Horus and causing lots of pain and disruption on the way. you're getting the most out of your Legion trait, and that 1,800 points worth of stuff, those units, that they're a good core. You're going to be using something like that in almost every list you build, or you'll never regret having those units in a Sons of Horus list. And having 1,200 points left over leaves you quite a lot of points for HQ and firepower. So you might want to, you could add a Spartan to that, and then some tanks in the backfield, or you can add a Master of Signals to that and do the 10 las cannon teams if you want to get really dirty, and that will unlock the Black Reaving Rite of War, so long as you get some fast attack slots in there as well. So the Master of Signals with some firepower and some fast attack slots in there, because you've got to have more fast than heavy. And then in the fast attack slot, I would add guns to back it up. So javelins with lancers and multi-melters, or bikes with multi-melters, or even Proteuses, land speeder Proteuses with 2 multi-melters. You want anti-tank weaponry there in your fast attack slot, because the 1,800 points of punch that we've put into our list doesn't have that much DACA. If you want to go more dirty, then add Deredeos in the heavy slots, more Dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts are good. Or go down the traditional route and just bring tanks, because the Sons of Horus were well supplied. So Vindicators, Predators, Sakarans, they're all good. And don't underestimate the power of tanks. People in Heresy bring 1 or 2, or sometimes 3 or 4 tanks. And what can happen to tanks in Heresy is they can die in turns 1 or 2 quite easily. You get those explodes results or those immobilization results. But if you bring in 6 or 7 tanks, they scale very strongly. It's hard to kill all of the tanks earlier on. So there's always going to be a couple of Sakarans zipping around, or Vindicators zipping around, or Predators zipping around in turns 4 or 5, or even turn 6, throwing down las cannons, throwing down heavy firepower later on in the game turn. The longer your tanks stay alive, the more of a force multiplier they are, and the more tanks you have, the more likely some of them are alive by the end of the game. And tanks look so very pretty. They just look so cool. So that's what I did. I added tanks. So if I was doing it from scratch, 50 scoring guys running around and 30 of them with good jump packs, 20 Terminators, 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts, chuck in some tanks, chuck in some fast slots as well, but with anti-tank. And that unlocks a bunch of stuff for you and would be quite a good, strong, but not broken force. And it would lean into the Legion trait for the Sons of Horus, just getting in there, getting down and dirty. If you want to make a list that's really dirty, by the way, add Abaddon. He's one of the priciest named characters in the game at 250 points, but he's an absolute G. Him and Loken both have a base 5 attacks, and there's very few Praetors out there that have a base 5 attacks. But Abaddon beats Loken because he's got 2 specialist weapons. So he's got 6 attacks base, basically, with his 2 specialist weapons. And having a Power Fist with Shred, that's juicy. And he's got Battle Hardened, so he counts as Toughness 5 for instant death stuff. Abaddon is very strong. And one of the Rite of Wars for the Sons of Horus, the Long March, is traitor only, so you might as well get Abaddon. He's a G. So looking at my collection now, the obvious thing to add is Assault Marines, at least 3 squads of them, and some fast attack choices, so it unlocks the Black Reaving Rite of War. You've got to have more fast than heavy. And I'm thinking of Proteuses or Javelins. I've got 6 Javelins in my Raven Guard, so I like the idea of land speeder Proteuses. I think they're called, zipping around with double melters on or double plasma on. That would be scary. And also, Sons of Horus, you've got no reason why you can't bring anything you want in a Sons of Horus list. They are one of the most supplied legions out there, along with the Ultramarines and the Imperial Fists and the Dark Angels. They're very well supplied. So after Assault Marines and some shooty fast attack options, I need to add some Reaver attack squads and also the named characters that you get for Sons of Horus. I need Little Horus. I need Tybok Ma. They just look so very pretty. But to be honest, anything that Games Workshop release in plastic that doesn't fit in any of the other legions that I have, because Raven Guard, I'm building them a specific way, Death Guard, I'm building them a specific way. Anything new and shiny that doesn't fit in any of the other legions, I'll buy it, stick it in the Sons of Horus, because they were very well supplied and they would have definitely had quite a few of them. Having said that, next up on the chopping block is not more Sons of Horus. Currently Den of Imagination are working on some orcs for me to add to Murphy's War for my 40k collection. Really looking forward to them. Currently, I'm working on some 13th to add to the 13th for my 40k collection. So there's a bit of 40k going on. Once all that's done, I need to fill out the Death Guard. Just got over 3,000 points worth of Death Guard for 30k, and I've got Mortarion set up there staring at me, and some Grave Warden Terminators. I also need to add some more scoring units to my Death Guard, because I can only field a maximum of 3 right now, which is not the right number when you're playing Horus Heresy. You need minimum 4, 5 is best. Better than 5 is even best, but 4 or 5 scoring units in there. So as well as Morty, the Grave Warden, some more scoring units, I've got to add some more heavy support squads as well, because Death Guard can walk around and shoot guns without impunity. I've got a full squad of 10 multi-melters. I've got a full squad of 10 plasma guys. Why not chuck in a full squad of 10 las cannon guys, or a full squad of 10 auto cannon guys as well, because they can. So that's what I need to add to the Death Guard. That'll be coming after the Orcs and the 13th bit, or that'll go on the chopping block after all those things are worked out and when they turn up. That's the future plan anyway. Then after that, I'll probably, at this time I'm saying, I'll probably go back to the Sons of Horus to add a chunk to the Sons of Horus, but I've got some new toys to play with right now, so I don't feel the need to update them straight away. But yeah, 6 months, 9 months from now, we'll be updating the Sons of Horus for sure. But what do you think I should add? Do you play Sons of Horus, and what combos work for you, or what units work best for you? Or more importantly, have you gone up against Sons of Horus, and what frightens you? What worked against you? I'm be very keen to hear all of your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Do hope you enjoyed this showcase video, and some of my thoughts and things, please add below. I've said that already. Happy wargaming.